Healthcare cybersecurity trends, what you need to know. Institutes for General Healthcare are also incorporating cybersecurity technology in their systems, online and otherwise. So here's a rundown of healthcare cybersecurity trends and what you need to know about them. Overview. In 2015, the healthcare cybersecurity world received one of the harshest wake-up calls in the form of consistent security breaches. In the earlier half of 2015, 62% of the largest ever health security breaches were committed. This meant that over 1 million records were compromised in some way, and the data stored for the past 5 years in their records was suddenly not protected and easily accessible. So, why are hackers so interested in healthcare records? Why would anyone care about a stranger's medical history? Well, turns out there is exploitable information in one's electronic health record that can be utilized by the black market. Previously, electronic health records have sold for as much as $50, but apparently, the price may be even higher today, according to IBM X-Force researchers. If healthcare records are sold alongside someone's financial and personal data, it drives up the price. The expense of managing security breaches. The cost of a data breach in healthcare systems is worth twice compared to the data breach cost in other countries, $355 per record compared to $158 per record, according to a 2016 cost of data breach study. This just means that they're expensive threats for businesses and sectors to manage, especially when they have the records of thousands, if not millions of patients in their software. Unfortunately enough, it's very common for the industry to ignore these threats. Apparently, only 33% of the organizations facing this threat have actively taken preventative measures to protect their patients and themselves from cyber threats that consistently keep getting worse each year. Trend 1. The breaches will keep coming. Adding onto our past point about security breaches getting worse each year, in 2016, an 18.5% increase was reported over the year 2015. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights Breach Portal, an estimated 320 breaches were reported that involved unsecured protected health information, or PHI. This is why it's probably unrealistic to hope that these security breaches may just go away magically. But even in this trend, there are recurring tactics used by breachers companies that need to be aware of. Third parties are important. Companies that rely on third-party vendors for exclusive services definitely need to be cautious of who they trust for billing or otherwise. Atrium Health in 2018 fell victim to one of the worst cybersecurity breaches to date when, unbeknownst to them, their data was leaked by a trusted third-party vendor. 2.65 million patients' data was exposed to hackers. AccuDoc Solutions, which managed the company's billings and were the true culprits, weren't the ones getting heat for this incident. Atrium Health took the worst blows in its reputation and user base following the devastating incident. No company is immune to repeat attacks. In fact, some would say that repeat attacks should be expected. Say you're a healthcare company who's just effectively dealt with a breach in your security and data. You can finally relax now, right? Wrong. Unfortunately enough, that's when a company needs to be on an even higher alert, since that's when hackers strike. The case of UnityPoint Health is a cautionary tale for this exact reason. UnityPoint Health, after being hit with a security breach involving 16,000 patient records, assumed they were safe. But that false sense of security only led them back to square one, with many other hackers seeing this as an opportunity to get leftovers. So within a year of the first breach, right as they were trying to recover, they were hit with another breach. This time with targeted phishing emails that directly led to the loss of 1.4 million patient records. Detection times still need work. Apparently, many healthcare companies just don't notice when their data has been breached, or at least way later than when it could have helped them to protect their patients. In the case of LifeBridge Health, it took the company over a year to inform its users that their data was hacked into and, as such, no longer protected. So it's clear that detection of these security breaches is essential in its earliest stages, so an adequate response could be delivered. The inevitable and potential threat of ransomware. Ever since the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's clear that some hackers will sink to the bottom of the barrel to take advantage of the information kept in healthcare records. Initially beginning in September, ransomware is, once again, one of the most powerful tactics hackers have started using to extort the healthcare sector as a whole. By November, over 12 healthcare delivery organizations were reportedly dealing with the exploitative threat and were driven into EHR. According to Reimer, Hackers are opportunistic in nature and greedy, and as such, are quick to grab a hold of the old system once the hook has been inserted and stabilized. Ransomware threats in healthcare can look like encrypting patient records so they can't be used until the hackers are contacted and paid off. This phenomenon reached its highest numbers in November 2019, but according to Potter, Friedberg, and Reimer, these threats and similar ones may as well continue and bleed into 2021 and even further. As the healthcare sector tries to respond to the COVID-19 outbreak, so will these opportunistic threats. And apparently, the number of companies moving their data to the cloud during the pandemic all possess the potential to suffer worse break-ins. Predictions from experts. Friedberg noted that all these stressors may lead to data exposure due to misconfigured cloud and on-prem servers. He predicted, for 2021, we can expect a continued uptick in ransomware, and in more cases, we will see a doxing component in which the attacker threatens to publish exfiltrated personally identifiable information and protected health information if the healthcare institution does not pay the ransom. And added that a growing ransomware trend is for the attackers to disable victims' incident response, restoration, and recovery platforms and technologies, all with the purpose of further pressuring the institution to pay. Potter, on the other hand, predicted that the way the pandemic has been largely handled during the first half of 2021 will most likely decrease the attacks that the healthcare sector may face from these nation-state actors altogether. Although he continued saying, that said, the knowledge they gained in the last year will likely serve them well in future intelligence and cybercrime operations against this sector, making them a perpetually dangerous adversary. But why is ransomware such a common cyber threat? Well, that often has to do with the lack of resources provided to the sectors and subsequently the patients. In a report released by the Department of Health and Human Services gauging HIPAA compliance ranging across the healthcare sector, the research was done based on a sample, but the findings revealed that the majority of these companies and providers fail to perform required risk assessments and risk management procedures. Potter explained many of the small to mid-sized providers continue to face resourcing issues when it comes to implementing cybersecurity controls, and elaborated lack of funding and lack of staff means that these organizations will continue to be relatively easy targets for attackers. And the critical nature of their services means that criminal organizations know that they are likely to pay up. According to Reimer, the greatest challenges for the healthcare sector are caused by budgetary constraints, staffing shortages, and a lack of cybersecurity prowess with needed IT support staff. Another prediction plaguing the healthcare industry is the potential decline in cybersecurity expertise in the coming year. This, added with usability issues and even more hacking extortions attacking the sector regularly, providers aren't faring well and are reportedly struggling to defend their networks in an adequate manner. There are many reasons for the future predictions to be this drab and dull. One of the reasons is the sector's failure to block malicious phishing emails from employees' accounts effectively, leading them to fall prey to these hackers. Another reason is the lack of advanced malware detection capabilities on their network traffic and endpoints. This just leads to ineffective and borderline useless visibility tools to detect the patterns of these hackers, who often laterally move across platforms and networks. Another big issue is the lack of appropriate forensic tools to detect anomalies in their own software. And this may lead to ineffective threat hunting, even if it's better than none. The differences in the sector. Many companies running on old systems often fail to separate their backups from the network, leading them to become easy prey. But according to Potter, all of these aren't as big a security failure as a lack of adequate and required workforce support. He said that larger players are able to hire staff and buy the required tech to run reasonably secure organizations, and continued saying that that wasn't the case for down-market providers, who suffer in more extreme ways. He said that even with funding, it will be difficult to first staff the required jobs and then actually build out the necessary security controls. Potter then ended up providing a solution when he said, a national initiative to assist placing skilled cybersecurity staff in small and mid-market healthcare companies would go a long way to closing this gap, he added. A shared responsibility model with the USG may be the only way to address this problem in the near term. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get notified every time we post a new video.